Good morning, K1. Happy Wednesday and happy Earth Day. Today we celebrate Earth Day and we're going to do some fun activities today. I have an art project that you can do with some materials you have at home. We're going to learn about Earth Day, and I also have a fun scavenger hunt that you can maybe do in your backyard. It's all optional, but I thought it would be fun for us to get to celebrate the beautiful Earth that God created for us. So before we get started, for our greeting today, I wanted to teach you how to say Earth in sign language. So to say Earth in sign language, you're going to hold one hand out like this, and then you're going to take your other hand and pinching your thumb and your pointer finger together, you're going to put it on your wrist, kind of like you're pinching your wrist like this, and then you rock this hand back and forth. So this is how you do Earth in sign language. So that's our greeting for today, is signing the word Earth to celebrate the Earth Day. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our calendar. Yesterday was April 21st, which means today is April 22nd. Yesterday was our 147th day of school, which means today is our 148th. What day of the week was it yesterday? Yesterday was Tuesday. Good job. All right, if yesterday was Tuesday, today is Wednesday. And if today is Wednesday, tomorrow will be Thursday. Awesome. This week is flying by. I can't even believe it. All right, so let's look at our morning message. Good morning, Kinder Crew. Today is Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020. Let's tap the sounds. All right. Get your tapping fingers ready. We're going to tap the sounds, and then we're going to blend the word together. Here we go. Ch, ah, p. What's the word? Chop. All right, our next word. P, I, g. Pig. S, at. Sat. Ill. What word is that? Ill. Spill. All right. Oh, I see the magic E. Ache. Ache. Rake. All right, and our last word here. Wish. Wish. Awesome job, kindergarten. Love Mrs. Jones and Mrs. Whalen. For your math review, for number 1, you are going to fill in the bubble next to the picture that shows the object that is the same as the others. So which balloon down here is the same as these balloons? For number 2, you're going to fill in the bubble next to the number that tells how many counters. So you're going to look up here, try to remember if this is full, you automatically know how many are in here, and then you can count on and choose the number down here that tells you how many counters there are. And for number 3, circle the item that does not belong in the group. Which item does not belong in the group? Mathematicians, for math today, we're going to be looking at picture graphs. Yesterday we looked at real graphs where we used counters, so real objects, and today we're going to be using pictures to create picture graphs so that then we can compare our groups and decide which has more. So the first thing we need to do is I have my group of pictures here, so I have hearts and triangles in this problem. So I'm going to look over here. I have a graph here that has the hearts and a graph here that shows the triangles. So I need to count how many hearts there are in my group, and I'm going to shade in that many squares on my picture graph to show that that's how many hearts are in my group. So let's see how many hearts there are. I have 1, and you can cross and count. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 hearts. So now I need to come over here to my picture graph and I'm going to shade in 1, 2, 3, 4 squares for my heart picture graph. So now I can move to my triangles and I'm going to count the triangles. There are 1, 2 pictures of triangles. So now I can come over to my picture graph and I can color in 2 squares to show that there are 2 triangles. Now I can compare my 2 picture graphs and decide which picture has more. So looking at these 2 graphs, which picture has more, the hearts or the triangles? The hearts has more, so I would go ahead and put a circle around the heart because that picture has more. All right, let's look down here. We have squares and circles. So let's start with the square since that's our first picture graph. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. So I'm going to come over to my picture graph and color in 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, color that in a little bit more. All right, now I can move on to my circles. I have 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to come to my picture graph and I'm going to shade in 1, 2, 3. Now I can compare my 2 picture graphs. Which picture graph has more, the square or the circle? The square has more. So I'm going to put a circle around the picture of the square. So that's what you're going to be doing today. You're going to be moving pictures and where you're going to be counting pictures and then you're going to be shading in the graph to match how many pictures of each are in the groups, and then you're going to compare your 2 picture graphs. For reading today, we're going to take a look at another Puppy Mudge book, and we're going to talk about the characters' descriptions and traits. And what I mean by that is what the characters are like on the outside and what the characters are like on the inside. So for example, if I were going to give character traits of someone, for example, Mrs. Whalen, if I were going to give character traits to her, if I were going to talk about what she was like on the outside, I could say things like, she has brown hair, she is beautiful, she is tall. So I could describe the way that she looks on the outside. I could say she is a female. So those are some of her descriptions. So I'm describing Mrs. Whalen and what she looks like on the outside. I would also talk about what she's like on the inside. So traits, things about her. For example, I could say Mrs. Whalen is very faithful, she is very prayerful, she is kind, she is loving. So those are traits that she has on the inside. So when we're reading this book today, we're going to be thinking about Henry and Mudge and what they are like on the outside and also what they're like on the inside. And then we're going to fill out this graphic organizer together. I'm going to fill out part of it for you, and then I'm going to ask you to fill in a few other things on your own at home. And I actually have someone else who's going to read this book to you. So if you look in the link below next to where it says our reading lesson in the information box, if you click on that link, that's going to take you to a read aloud of our story for today, Puppy Mudge Loves His Blanket. All right, so now that you've listened to the story, we're going to look here at our graphic organizer that we are that's going to help us to write down the descriptions and traits of Henry and Mudge. So I'm going to help you by coming up with one character trait and description for each of the characters, and then I'm going to have you come up with one more on your own. So let's go ahead and start with Henry. So this says on the outside, Henry is. So I want to talk about what Henry looks like. So on the outside, Henry is a redhead. So that's something that I could put. So he has red hair. So Henry is a redhead. He has red hair. Okay. And on the inside, so now I want to talk about what Henry is like, not what he looks like, but how I would describe him. And remember, we want to try to not use words like nice, happy, sad, words like that. We want to try to use words that really describe the person. So I want to challenge you to come up with words that are a little bit different. So really think about how the character acted in the story, which is going to help you come up with their traits on the inside. So I'm going to write that on the inside, Henry is helpful because he helps Mudge to find his blanket. Okay, now let's go down here for Mudge. On the outside, Mudge is brown. He's a brown dog. On the inside, Mudge is, and I'm gonna put the word determined because Mudge does not give up and he keeps looking for his blanket. So I'm gonna write determined. So what I want you to do now is I want you to come up with one more example for each of these sections. So you're gonna come up with one example for how Henry is on the outside, one example for how Henry is on the inside, and then the same for Mudge. If you can come up with more than one, go for it, but you only have to come up with one more character trait. Start out writing for today, I'm going to continue to show you how we are going to organize our research books. And again, this is just my example. You guys do not need to do this with me right now. I'm just showing you this so that you have an idea or a preview for when we start our own books next week. So you do not need to do any of this right now. Right now, you're just watching me do this. So yesterday, we wrote our different categories and our table of contents based on our graphic organizer. So now we know that on each page, these are the things it's going to talk about. So now that we have that, to help me, I'm actually going to use some color and I'm going to assign a color to each of my sections. And that's going to help me when I go into my book. I'm going to know what color I need to use. All right, so now I have all of my sections labeled by color, and I've also written what's in each section. So now I'm gonna put this to the side over here, okay? And then I'm gonna see over here I have my first page of my book. Now I'm gonna match that up to page 1 in my table of contents, and that is yellow, okay? And that says what it looks like. So that's gonna be my title on the top of my research book for page 1. So that's going to be what I'm talking about on this page, okay? And then I'm gonna do it in yellow so that they match. Then I would go to number 2, page number 2. Now for page number 2, I'm gonna come over here, look at page 2 in my table of contents, and that says what it eats. So now all of my information on page 2 is going to be about what my animal eats. And then I'm going to use my green again to help me remember. Okay, for number 3, I'm going to go back over here to my table of contents where it lives. So that's what I'm going to write on page 3, where it lives. And then for the last page, page number 4, I have other fun facts. So I'm going to write that at the top. Other fun facts. So that's what's going to be on this page, and I'm going to use my orange. So now my book is all organized so that when I start writing my information, I know exactly what information is going to go on each page. And I'm going to walk you through this again next week, but again, this is just a preview of how we're going to organize our research books. Writers, in a few days next week, you guys are going to be doing your own research project on an animal that you're choosing. And to practice for this, today you are going to go ahead and answer a research question. So I'm going to read you a story, a nonfiction book about dolphins. And with that information, you are going to choose one research question that you are going to answer in order to practice paying attention to the type of information you need for your research books next week. So these are the research questions that you can choose from, and you only need to pick one. So I've attached all three of them to your work for today, but you do not need to do all three. You only need to do one. So here are your options for your research questions. So the first question you can answer is, where does your animal live? And remember, again, today we're all doing the same animal. We're doing dolphins, and I'm gonna read you that nonfiction book. So you can answer where dolphins live. You can answer, what does your animal look like? And again, we're doing dolphins, so what do dolphins look like? Or you can answer, what does your animal eat? So what do dolphins eat? So I'm gonna go ahead and read you the nonfiction book now, and then you're going to choose your one research question that you are going to answer. And if you want, you can draw a picture on the back of a dolphin. You don't have to, but you can if you want to do some art today. The nonfiction book is about bottlenose dolphins. Bottlenose dolphins live in the ocean. They like warmer waters. They live in groups. These groups are called pods. They are usually 2 to 15 members. Bottlenose dolphins eat shrimp and fish. They also eat squid. They catch food with their sharp teeth. Bottlenose dolphins have smooth skin. It feels like rubber. They do not have any hair. They have 2 fins at the end of their tails. These fins are called flukes. They use their flukes to swim. They have 2 pectoral fins. They use these to steer and stop. Bottlenose dolphins have blowholes. They use them to breathe. Bottlenose dolphins form close bonds. Sometimes a pod member can be sick or hurt. Other members help it. They swim beneath the sick dolphin. They push the dolphin to the surface. This is so the dolphin can breathe. They do this until the dolphin is strong again. And some more facts. Bottlenose dolphins can hold their breath for up to 7 minutes. Bottlenose dolphins can never fully go to sleep. They have to stay awake to breathe. They rest on one side of their brain. They rest one side of their brain at a time. Bottlenose dolphins like to play. They swim in the waves. They even use their blowholes to make bubble rings. So now that you've learned about bottlenose dolphins, you're going to choose one research question to answer. Now we're going to learn a little bit about Earth Day, and then I'm going to show you a fun craft that you can do at home. What is Earth Day? Earth Day is a global event. Activities and events are held each year as a show of support for Earth's environment. Earth Day is celebrated each year on April 22nd, which is today. Earth Day is celebrated worldwide in over 192 countries. The purpose is to show global support for the protection of our environment. The first Earth Day was held on April 22nd, 1970. Why was Earth Day started? In the late 1960s and into 1970, most Americans paid little attention to the damage being done to our environment. Most Americans drove very large cars that got very poor gas mileage. Not only were petroleum products being used, but automobile emissions were polluting the air. Many industries paid little attention to the damage they were doing to the environment. Earth Day 1970 was organized to promote awareness for our environment and to encourage all people to take better care of the environment. Gaylord Nelson, a U.S. Senator from Wisconsin, proposed and organized the first Earth Day. As a result, on April 20th, 1970, 20 million Americans took up the environmental cause and protested. Thousands of schools, colleges, and universities participated in the first Earth Day. The participants led peaceful demonstrations in favor of environmental reform. Americans protested against oil spills, polluting industries and power plants, the dumping of raw sewage, gross, the dumping of toxins such as pesticides and toxic waste into streams and rivers, the loss of wilderness and deforestation, and the extinction of many wildlife species. The first Earth Day led to the creation of the United States Environmental Protection Agency and the passage of the Clean Air, Clean Water, and Endangered Species Act. In 1990, Earth Day went global, mobilizing 200 million people in 141 countries. In 1995, President Bill Clinton awarded Senator Nelson the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest honor given to civilians in the United States, for his role as Earth Day founder. In 2010, on the 40th anniversary of Earth Day, the Earth Day Network launched 1 billion acts of green. Participants were asked to register their acts of green and state what they were doing to protect the environment. By April 22, 2012, 1 billion actions had been recorded by the people of the world. The Earth Day Network has now set as its goal 2 billion acts of green, and you can record your own acts of green actions online. So think about, what is your goal for Earth Day? What can you do to protect the Earth? I'm going to show you a fun craft that you can do at home to celebrate Earth Day. So the only supplies you need are a spray bottle, a coffee filter, and blue and green markers. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your blue and green markers and you're going to color your coffee filter. So I'm going to flatten my coffee filter out and I'm going to draw my land first using my green. So there's more water on Earth than there is land. So I'm just going to draw a couple places for land on the Earth. I'm just going to draw some land. And your coloring does not have to be perfect. Another piece of land there. And then maybe a little one over here. And one more little one over here. Okay, now I'm going to take my blue and I'm going to fill in all the spots that are empty. Like this. Keep coloring. This does not need to be 3-star coloring because you will see why in a little bit. I'm going to keep going. Okay, I think that should be good. Okay. Make sure you do this on a surface that mom and dad say it's okay because it definitely bleeds through. All right, so now I can put my markers away. I have my spray bottle. And I'm just going to start spraying my coffee filter. So it doesn't need to be a lot, but I'm just going to start spraying it. Spray, I'm going to spray it. And you can see what's happening. And you probably don't even need to do that much water. But you can leave it and you can see the edges. It's starting to spread on the coffee filter, all the water starting to spread out and fill in the areas on my filter. So you can see that that's happening, starting to spread out. And you can leave it for a while. I can see here it's starting to spread over here. So you just want to leave it. And then once it spreads, you can see
how, definitely do it on a surface that mom and dad are okay, or put down some newspaper or something. But you can see now it has spread, and what does that look like? The earth. And you can maybe spread out your water a little bit more, and then put this in a place to dry. And then I've also attached for you your Earth Day promise. So once this dries, you can glue it on top of the worksheet that says my Earth Day promise, and you can come up with a promise that you're gonna make to help us keep our earth clean and nice for generations to come.
Thanks for another great day of learning kindergarten. I hope you have a great rest of Earth Day. Get outside, ride your bike, run around. It is a beautiful sunny day, and I will see you back here tomorrow.